to today's vlog. Today I'm going to be sharing my 2023 reset and realistic morning routine. Before I get into the rest of the video, I wanted to thank Athletic Greens for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to be sharing more about what Athletic Greens AG1 is and how I incorporate it into my routine. I'll also be leaving a link in my description box where you're able to get a 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D3, K2, and 5 travel packs free with your first purchase. So I said reset because I had a pretty good self-care routine both morning and evening before I had a baby. And then you have a baby and of course your whole schedule changes. We moved houses and I felt like my whole routine was just kind of starting from scratch. And so I promised myself that in 2023, I would put together a self routine that fits into my lifestyle and that feels good for me. Now, I see a lot of these videos and some of them seem really unrealistic, meaning I know that a lot of this is meant to be inspirational and hopefully you get one good idea and you incorporate it into your life and then that makes that video super useful. So I'm hoping that's what this video does, but I also want to keep it realistic. Aside from the fact that I did buy this new set purely for the video, only for the fact that I didn't want to wear the same black leggings. But aside from the new workout set, and this is like Target, so not fancy at all, but aside from the new fit, everything really is realistic and what really a mom can actually do. So there are definitely a few things that I've been incorporating slowly back into my life, but one thing that is just so important to me is to have a routine in the morning. So ideally, in a perfect world, I would wake up an hour before Amelia and get all my stretching, my meditation. But I do realize that in order to do that, it means that I have to go to bed earlier. I can't just continuously go to bed at 2 a.m. like we do and expect to be up at 7 a.m. like bright-eyed and excited for the day. So I've been making small steps into at least going to bed an hour earlier, limiting TV before bed. I've been trying to read a lot more at night so that I am actually tired when we turn off the lights and it is time to sleep, so that I can have a better morning the next morning. So that's been my step one. And then in terms of the steps that I take and the things that I do to really make me feel good, I really have to keep it to a minimum. I would love to just spend 2 hours and meditate for half an hour and work out for half an hour to an hour every day, but that's just not realistic for me. So a realistic morning for me is waking up, being able to wash my face and get a quick stretch in. Some days, if Amelia's already awake, I will literally do this in 10 minutes and then get to her. It just gives me a space to take a few deep breaths, stretch out my body. There's been like mornings where I literally like pick her up and that's like the first, strenuous movement my back is making. And that's not great. I feel like when I get to her, I should come in with a little bit more energy and a stretch and a good breath. I mean, I can't emphasize how monumental that can be for a good day. So at minimum, I get a good stretch in, and then I head downstairs to get my AG1 drink. I don't like to eat first thing in the morning or first thing when I wake up, but I do like having something in my system that's just going to kickstart my digestion. And then this allows me to devote an hour to Amelia and her morning routine without me being like starved and hangry, which has happened in the past and it's not great. So I started drinking Athletic Greens AG1 about 3 months ago. And whether I'm having it in the morning first thing or I have to head out for an errand or a meeting, I love that I can just measure out the water, put in 1 scoop, shake it and take it with me. And I already feel like I've done one amazing thing for myself. So click my link below to get a 1-year supply of the immune supporting vitamin D3, K2, and 5 travel packs free with your first purchase. AG1 is the quickest, easiest, and tastiest healthy habit to fill the nutritional gaps in my diet. You just can't put a price tag on your own health. AG1 is available in the US, Canada, UK, and Europe. Click my link below to get 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D3, K2, and 5 travel packs free with your first purchase. Are we the most hydrated girls? Cheers! Cheers! Yeah! Yay! Yes! And some strawberries. So about 6 years ago, I stopped drinking coffee just because it was messing with my hormones, and I've slowly introduced it back into my life, which amazing and also necessary when you're a new mom. But I never have coffee on an empty stomach in the morning. And so having something that tastes nice and is pleasant to drink and it's just going to fill me with some energy in the morning is an absolute great way for me to start the day. So another thing too, I used to take a lot of supplements just to feel good and to nourish myself. And I feel like with AG1, I'm doing all those steps in one. And this is something I can easily drink while I'm feeding Amelia or running around playing with her in the morning. Honestly, I'd seen a lot of talk about AG1, and I always assumed that the taste would be very healthy and not very nice, just something you drank to start the day. And to my surprise, this taste is just so pleasant. It's not overly sweet. It doesn't taste artificial. I get almost like a fresh pineapple taste. And I've got Adam completely hooked. He started stealing my first batch and putting it into his smoothies. Although for me, I prefer it on an empty stomach. I think you also maximize the benefits by having it on an empty stomach. So a few other healthy habits that I've been trying to incorporate into my early day is to do a cold 30-second shower. It makes such a huge difference. It's a great way to stimulate the vagus nerve. So if you're constantly stressed like me, it's a good thing to do because it kind of resets your breath. And one thing, I thought it would just like become easier and easier the more I did it. And then I heard an expert a couple weeks ago talk about it, and he said like it doesn't get easier. The whole point is that in just those 30 seconds, the way you were talking to yourself, like, I can do this, I can do this, that like kind of reframes like your mindset for the day and kind of just shows you your strength. And that personally, to me, like working out, that's what that does for me. I don't do it for abs. The way I feel for the rest of the day, the benefits that continues to give me is a far more than like a number on the scale. So, and another thing I did want to talk about, like there's been a lot of talk about self-care fatigue, meaning like self-care I feel like is everywhere, and there's almost like a guilt of if I'm not doing all of these things. Self-care should feel good for you. It should be whatever like fits your lifestyle and your personality type, and like basically like it should help you. It's, you know, this shouldn't be another task that you're adding to your schedule. It should feel nice and you should crave it and want to do it again the next day. And even with like skincare and other things, I've definitely tried like having this like crazy skincare routine that's so not me. And guess what? It doesn't stick. I don't end up doing it more than 2 or 3 nights. And then I realized like this isn't for me. So basically, if you take a tip from my video today, is that anything that you see throughout the year, let it be inspirational and not necessarily a negative push to do something that you feel like you have to. Another thing, it doesn't have to be aesthetic. I feel like that's like this big thing on social media. Just like me today, like I said, I bought like a new workout set just because it would look nicer on video. And also, I feel like you guys see a 10-minute video, whereas we edit for hours sometimes. And so sometimes, like if I'm editing a video where I have like dog hair on my outfit, it like bugs me the whole time that I'm editing. So I think it is almost more for us than maybe it is even for the audience or something that we're necessarily trying to portray. But that's one thing that I feel like I've had to kind of learn. Like your routines and your self-care doesn't have to look aesthetic. It just needs to feel good for you. So getting up, doing a quick stretch, journaling if I have the time. This one is the one that I feel like is more like a luxury to me. If I have the time, if I am feeling inspired, or if I am feeling like I have too much on my mind, so like one or the other, like that's normally when I'm more motivated to journal. And the 5-minute journal that I have, it prompts you in the morning and then in the evening, so it kind of gives you a little bit of homework so that I feel like throughout the day I tend to think about it, because sometimes it's easy to just like wake up feeling crappy and then kind of not doing anything about it, and then in the evening being like, wow, I still feel crappy, I just had a crappy day. Whereas if you're kind of create an intention in the morning, like today I'm going to focus on trying to refrain my mind to just be more positive. Like that's going to be on my mind. And then in the evening, it's like, wow, I did do that. You know, maybe these 3 difficult parts throughout the day, I changed my outlook on the situation and I turned it around. That can be so powerful. And I think that evening little prompt of kind of checking in gives you this like extra bit of self-awareness around the topic, which I absolutely love. So after I've started my morning, I like to get myself ready, do just a little bit of light makeup. Obviously, this isn't possible every single day, but on most days, this does make me feel more productive if I have to get on a virtual consult or a meeting. It's just nice to know that I'm ready for the day. And then after all these steps, I do like to go for a late morning walk if possible, and if the weather is nice. Definitely getting out and getting some sunshine is crucial to me. I am an island girl. I was born by the sea, and I feel like every single day it's one thing that I've learned about myself the hard way. I either need to see the ocean or the sun. Otherwise, I'm not a happy person. And then I feel like the last step, this is what transitions my morning into kind of afternoon, is my breakfast. Normally after about an hour and a half of being awake is when I tend to eat something, and I go back and forth and whatever I'm craving or feeling that day. Some days if I don't have a crazy appetite, I could just have some eggs, some berries, and then other days I crave a croissant and a coffee, and that's what I'll have. And one thing that I've noticed with myself, when I do give into cravings early in the day, in the evening I'm kind of over it. And another thing for me is I like eating lighter dinners. I just feel like I sleep better. I feel like my mood is better. There's no worse feeling than feeling like you're too full or you have indigestion from eating something kind of rich in the evening. And again, thinking about your evening routine or what you do at night will run into how you sleep, and how you sleep and will help you have a better morning the next day. So yeah, these are my tips and my 2023 reset. Hope you found some inspiration. Hope you've had a great start to the still new year. And I hope you try out AG1 by Athletic Greens. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.